Good evening. It's Monday, 16 January, and this is Warning 616. And you're thinking, why are you talking about saying farewell to the sea? This is a farewell sea shanty. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, I'd like to have dinner. Oh, look, I'll have some tuna. Well, no, maybe not. Then again, oh, Alaskan wild pink salmon. Okay, well, that's off the plate. There's my plate. And what am I on about today? All right, let's talk about this. This article appeared in the 14 January Vancouver Sun. Canadian fish eaters threatened by Fukushima radiation, anti-nuclear group. Due to resolution, I'm just going to read it to you. In the background, we'll listen to the shanty. After the world's first nuclear accident in 25 years, authorities in Canada said people living here were safe and faced no health risks from the fallout from Fukushima. They said most of the radiation from the crippled Japanese nuclear power plant would fall into the ocean, where it would be diluted and not pose any danger. Dr. Dale Dewar wasn't convinced. Dewar, a family physician in Wynyard, Saskatchewan, doesn't eat a lot of seafood herself. But when her grandchildren come to visit, she carefully checks seafood labels. She wants to make sure she isn't serving them anything that might come from the western Pacific Ocean. Okay, let's think about that for just a second. Oh, hence the empty plate. And mind you, I'm fifth generation from a commercial fishing family. Dewar, the executive director of Physicians for Global Survival, a Canadian anti-nuclear group, says the Canadian government has downplayed the radiation risks from Fukushima and is doing little to monitor them. Says Dewar, we suspect we're going to see more cancers, and decreased fetal viability, decreased fertility, increased metabolic defects, and we expect them to be generational. Evidence has emerged that the impacts of the disaster on the Pacific Ocean are worse than expected. In November, 65% of the catches tested positive in Japan for cesium, a radioactive material created by nuclear reactors, according to a Montreal Gazette analysis of data on the Fisheries Agency's website. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency, which monitors food safety, says it's aware of the numbers, but the amounts of cesium are small. But the Japanese data show elevated levels of contamination in several seafood species that Japan has exported to Canada in recent years. And mind you, this isn't even dealing with species such as Pacific salmon, which migrate throughout the Pacific. Overall, 1 in 5 of the 1,100 catches tested in November exceeded the new ceiling of 100 becquerels per kilogram. Canada's ceiling for radiation in food is much higher, 1,000 becquerels per kilogram. Nicholas Fisher, marine sciences professor at the State University of New York at Stony Brook, says, I would probably be hesitant to eat a lot of those fish. Fisher, ironically named, is researching how radiation from Fukushima is affecting the Pacific fishery. There has been virtually zero monitoring and research on this, he said, calling on other governments to do more radiation tests on the ocean's marine life. Is it something we need to be terrified of? No. Is it something we need to monitor? Yes, particularly in coastal waters where concentrations are high. Contamination of fish in the Pacific Ocean could have wide-ranging consequences for millions. Okay, I'm just going to skip down a bit. You can go to the article yourself, but I just want to mention this. The arrival of the debris on the west coast also appears to have caught Canadian authorities off guard. What debris are you talking about? Health Canada spokesman Gary Holub asked when contacted for comment this week. Debris from Japan is not expected on the west coast of Canada for another year. But the article goes on to say, there is a good chance Canadians have already eaten some of the types of fish most likely to be contaminated with cesium, based on the Japanese fisheries data. The Montreal Gazette analyzed the Japanese fisheries data for 22 seafood species that Japan has exported to Canada in recent years. Again, this is leaving out Pacific salmon and cod. Some cesium was found in 16 of these 22 species in November, the last full month for which data were available. Cesium was especially prevalent in certain of the species. 73% of mackerel tested contained cesium, 91% of the halibut, 92% of sardines, 93% of tuna and eel, 94% of the cod and anchovies, and 100% of carp, seaweed, shark, and monkfish. Some of the fish were caught in Japanese coastal waters. Other catches were made hundreds of kilometers away in the open ocean. You can go and read the entire article here, Vancouver Sun. It's titled Canadian Fish Eaters Threatened by Fukushima Radiation, Anti-Nuclear Group. It's by Alex Roslin for Post Media News. Well, we've all got a lot on our plates, but in the near future, I don't reckon we're going to have fish on our plates. This has been Warning 616, Two Wolves with something to think about and chew on. Thanks for watching.